Okay, let's do this. What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Will, and I'm back to give my quick review for Dragon Ball Super Broly. Broly. It's named Broly because it's kind of like broccoli, and it's kind of the same thing. Anyway, this is the 20th Dragon Ball film and the third of the Dragon Ball Super films. This follows Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, both which are canon to the Dragon Ball Super timeline? Timeline, yeah. So, this movie does give us a retelling of the Saiyans' origins, their destruction, as well as bringing back fan favorites of Broly and another character that I will talk about towards the end, which is kind of a spoiler, but I will post something about it being a spoiler. Let's get started. So the movie basically follows the events after the Tournament of Power arc, which was the final arc of the Dragon Ball Super anime before they're taking kind of a hiatus. This one primarily features Goku and Vegeta, as well as reintroducing Broly and bringing back Frieza, and a couple other fan favorite characters make their return in this movie. This, like I said, kind of recontextualizes the destruction of Planet Vegeta, Goku's parents. We actually get to see them, and it kind of alters how Goku should remember his mother and father. But considering that in Dragon Ball, Goku was dropped on its head and he kind of doesn't remember a lot of this stuff, it should fall in line pretty well. The entire movie does revolve around Broly being sent away as a baby, his father chasing after him and wanting revenge against King Vegeta, Vegeta's father. But with Frieza destroying Planet Vegeta years later from their exile, he has to go after Vegeta, which leads him to reuniting with Frieza after some of Frieza's soldiers, namely Lemon and Chili, are the ones who actually discover Paragus and Broly on a distant planet and bring them to Frieza. Frieza, desiring the Dragon Balls for probably the most hilarious wish ever, decides to take Paragus and Broly to Earth in order to confront Goku and Vegeta, and the subsequent battle begins from there. That is the basics of the movie without spoiling any of the major events. If you've seen the previous Dragon Ball Z movie for Broly or any of the other two really bad sequels, you will know that Broly as a character really doesn't have a personality, a story arc. In the original movies, Broly had a hatred for Goku or Kakarot, mainly because he cried as a baby. A lot. That's not a good character motivation. This movie, Akira Toriyama is the one who wrote the screenplay and directed the film. He is also the original creator of the Dragon Ball franchise. He really redeemed the character of Broly and gave Broly a backstory, a more compelling character arc, and more personality than just saying Kakarot over and over again. He made Broly a more sympathetic character because of the treatment of him by his father, Paragus, who was basically blindly bent on revenge for his son being exiled and him being exiled, all because King Vegeta was jealous of Broly's power or his latent abilities. That's not a good way to raise a kid. So through the interactions with Lemon and Chili, you really feel sympathy for Broly, and I think that's a really good character trait. The original voice actor for the English adaptation, Vic Mignogna, reprises his role as Broly. All of the English voice actors reprise their roles. Being that all of the films within the Super franchise have actually been canon to the main Super story arc with Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, Dragon Ball Super Broly is also now canon to that timeline, meaning that Broly is now officially canon, whereas in the original film, Broly was not canon. Once you get through about the first half of the movie, that's all exposition. After that, it's all fan service. It is nothing but the fight, the confrontation between Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. We get to see every transformation under the sun. Well, at least the transformations that matter. Unfortunately, we don't see Super Saiyan 3. but that's fine. We get some really cool transformation sequences. The animation looks gorgeous. That's something hands down this movie does really well, is that the artwork and animation, the choreography, the pacing of the fight, everything was exactly what I was hoping for to see in the movie. We get to see the interactions between Goku and Vegeta, their typical banter, their typical rivalry is still alive and well, even after the Tournament of Power arc where they learn to work together, especially even with Frieza. Frieza does return in this movie. He is still a villain. Even after all the events of the Tournament of Power arc, Frieza is still the villain of this movie. However, his villainy is more mischief than just, I need to destroy you. I think he has a mutual respect for Goku, but still wants to kill him out of revenge. That being said, the movie is focused solely on Goku and Vegeta's fight with Broly in the second half of the movie. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The action just looks great. The inclusion of certain characters, mainly Piccolo and Frieza, I thought was really well done in the midst of not losing the pacing of the fight. The fight does take the majority of the second half of the movie, and it flows really well. I think it's great. As a fan of the Dragon Ball franchise, they really know how to keep you entertained through just the battles and combat and the beam struggles. Broly being a raw fighter and actually learning how to fight throughout the battle itself is really entertaining and really fun to watch. Okay, so there is one thing I do have to slightly spoil about the movie, so I will put a spoiler warning right here, and that will stay up until I'm done, even though marketing spoiled this part to begin with. All right, 3, 2, 1. We have the official canonization of Gogeta. Gogeta is the fusion of Goku and Vegeta, who was never canon to the original Dragon Ball timeline. He did become canon in Dragon Ball GT, however, GT is no longer considered canon, so that was ruled out, and his only other appearance was in one of the movies during the Dragon Ball Z timeline, and none of those movies are canon. So this is our first reintroduction of not only Broly but Gogeta, because Broly becomes way too powerful for either Goku or Vegeta to even be able to stop. What's really great about that is that's how we get Piccolo's inclusion in the movie, because in the original Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo was the one who mentored Goten and Trunks in the fusion dance in order to become Gotenks. So he was the perfect person to help mentor Goku and Vegeta briefly within the fight in order for them to master fusion and become Gogeta. The way they worked out the break between Goku and Vegeta fighting Broly to learn fusion was really entertaining as well. So unfortunately, the inclusion of Gogeta in the movie was spoiled through the Japanese marketing. That's why I kind of said it's a spoiler, but if you paid attention to that marketing, you would know that Gogeta was in the movie. I mean, for God's sakes, they handed us this when we walked into the movie, and I'm like, that's Gogeta, thanks for ruining it. But I already knew, so it wasn't a big deal. With that part done, I'm done talking spoilers. And I loved how the movie ends, leaving it open for a believable sequel. Not going to tell you how it ends, but it leaves it open for a believable sequel, unlike the sequels to the Broly movies from the Dragon Ball Z movies. Yeah, it's a really fun, action-packed movie. It's got more depth than any of the previous Broly movies have had. It takes a lot of the cues that we see from the Battle of the Gods movie, and they learn some of the mistakes that they made during the Resurrection F movie. I think that Dragon Ball Super Broly is a really well animated, well told story. I'm looking forward to where they go with the series, because we don't know what's going to happen after the Tournament of Power arc. They've kind of kept tight-lipped. This was our first real story or real anything after that arc, and I'm very excited to see where the franchise goes from here. That is my quick review, non-spoilery to a point, of Dragon Ball Super Broly. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to check this out in theaters. I think it looks great watching it on a big screen, surrounded by a bunch of fans. It's really entertaining, and if you're a fan of the series, there's a lot of fan service, and you will not be disappointed with this movie. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Comment down below. Let me know. Try to keep it spoiler free because I'm trying to keep this one non-spoilery as best as I can. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at DGeekWill and subscribe to the channel for more of my videos and to keep up to date with what I got coming out down the pipeline. This was the first review of 2019. We've got a lot more to get through, and I hope you join me for each and every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you later.